Why is Russia burning through its own people? The answer is straightforward. The war is destroying a demographic structure that was already broken. Russia's total fertility rate has fallen to 1.41, approaching its lowest level in 25 years. The average life expectancy for Russian men is in the late 60s. For women, it's the late 70s, a gap of roughly a decade. This is one of the largest gender life expectancy gaps in the world. Why does that matter? This slide explains everything. The decline in birth rates has been unfolding for decades. The post-Soviet transitional recession simultaneously pushed childbearing later and reduced completed family sizes, gutting younger generations of their numbers. That labor shortage is now hitting ordinary citizens as severe inflation. In 2024, the Russian central bank raised its policy rate to an extraordinary 21%. Without the people, even available capital can't keep the economy moving. Male mortality is rooted in alcohol culture and stark regional disparities in healthcare access. The outsized contribution of cardiovascular disease and external causes of death, combined with specialist shortages in rural areas, drives mortality rates even higher. The very layer that sustains the state is disappearing fastest, and the war has accelerated this collapse. According to Western estimates, including the UK Ministry of Defense, Russian military casualties have surpassed 500,000. Hundreds of thousands, some estimates exceed 1 million, of engineers and researchers have left the country, and young men fleeing conscription have fled in large numbers as well. These are not just numbers. They are workers, taxpayers, and the parents of the next generation. This is a fact established by 3 decades of demographic research. It is not speculation. It is analysis grounded in Rosstat and UNWPP 2024 data. And it is comprehensible. Track the birth rates and mortality rates, and you'll see it. Look at the population pyramid, and you'll see it. Now you can understand why Russia is quietly exhausting itself. Today, let me show you the data. Let's start with the fertility problem. Russia's total fertility rate stood at 1.41 in 2023. That is the most recent figure published by Rosstat. In the first half of 2024, it is approaching its lowest level since 1999. Consider what this means in concrete terms. To sustain its population, a country needs women to average roughly 2.1 children each. Russia has fallen below this threshold for most of the post-Soviet era, with few exceptions. Decades of declining fertility. The Putin government has pursued pro-natalist policies. The Maternity Capital Program provides subsidies tied to birth order and year of birth. After its introduction in 2006, birth rates recovered temporarily. But policy could not fix the structural problem. The transitional recession suppressed birth numbers through 2 channels: delayed childbearing and a permanent reduction in completed family sizes. As urbanization advances, the cost of raising children rises, and younger generations' reluctance to have children has proven stubborn. Declining living standards from economic sanctions pushed childbearing further out of reach. Then the war in Ukraine pulled the trigger. Since 2022, young men fearing conscription have fled the country in droves. They were also the would-be fathers of the next generation. As the base of the population pyramid narrows, the labor force 2 decades from now will inevitably shrink. This is not a prediction. It is a reality already underway. Next, the problem of male mortality. By the most recent figures, Russian men have an average life expectancy in the late 60s. Women live into the late 70s, a gap of roughly a decade. One of the largest gender life expectancy gaps anywhere in the world. You may be thinking, don't other countries also have a gap between men and women? They do. But Japan's gap is roughly 6 years, the United States, roughly 5. Russia's roughly 10-year gap signals a structural anomaly. The primary cause is alcohol culture. According to WHO estimates, Russia's per capita alcohol consumption ranks among the highest in the world. Alcohol-related cardiovascular disease, cirrhosis, accidental death, and violent death push male mortality dramatically higher than in other developed nations. The second factor is regional inequality in healthcare access. After the Soviet collapse, rural hospitals closed and specialists migrated to cities. Delayed detection and treatment of cardiovascular disease continues to claim the lives of rural men who cannot access adequate care. Third, external causes of death make a substantial contribution. Research published in The Lancet Regional Health shows that deaths from accidents and violence compound Russia's excess mortality in complex ways. Consider what this means. Working-age men between 45 and 65 are being lost fastest. This is a loss of labor, a loss of pension contributors, and a loss of military readiness. Now let's analyze the impact of the war. Since the war in Ukraine began in February 2022, Russia's demographic losses have entered a new phase. The problem breaks down into three layers. The first layer is direct human losses. According to estimates from Western institutions, including the UK Ministry of Defense and French assessments, Russian military casualties have surpassed 500,000. The breakdown between killed and wounded and the basis for these estimates varies across institutions, and these figures have not been officially acknowledged by the Russian government. Virtually all analyses agree that the majority are men between 18 and 40. Second layer is brain drain. According to the OECD International Migration Outlook 2024, estimates of Russian nationals who have left since 2022 vary widely, with totals ranging from hundreds of thousands to over 1 million. The outflow is particularly pronounced among skilled workers, IT engineers, researchers, entrepreneurs, and physicians. Those who resettled in Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Serbia are unlikely to return to the Russian economy. The third layer is latent loss. Young men who fled to avoid conscription will further suppress future birth numbers. If they form families abroad, their children will not be counted in Russia's population. And this is not a future concern. The governor of the Russian central bank herself has stated that the primary constraint on economic growth is labor shortages. This is a process happening right now. Demographic collapse inevitably imposes a structural ceiling on the economy. Here's an important distinction to draw clearly. In the short term, the Russian economy continues to grow thanks to the expansion of defense spending. The IMF projected Russia's 2024 growth rate at 3.2%. But this is not sustainable growth. Labor shortages are driving severe inflation. Factories, defense industries, and farms alike are short of workers. Robust demand, with supply unable to keep pace, has pushed prices steadily higher. In 2024, the Russian central bank raised its policy rate to an extraordinary 21%. Mortgages and corporate borrowing are effectively frozen. Without the people, capital alone cannot keep the economy running. Over the long term, a decline in potential growth is unavoidable. Analyses from the IMF and World Bank point to the possibility that long-term growth in the private sector, excluding defense, could stagnate at around 1%. The erosion of R&D capacity through brain drain is further blocking the transition to a digital economy. And the structure of public finances is transforming as well. In Russia's 2025 budget proposal, defense spending alone exceeds 6% of GDP, and when security expenditures are included, roughly 32% of the national budget is projected to go toward war-related costs. None of this money will be used to rebuild healthcare or fund anti-declining birth rate measures. You might think, won't oil and gas revenues cover it? But resource revenues alone have their limits. Options like automation, raising labor participation rates, and accepting more immigrants are increasingly constrained by sanctions and the exodus of talent. Here's the critical point. These problems do not exist in isolation. Declining birth rates, early male mortality, and war-driven population loss. All three reinforce each other, forming a vicious cycle. As birth rates fall, the number of taxpayers 20 years from now shrinks. Fewer taxpayers means smaller government budgets for healthcare and education. As healthcare deteriorates, men's life expectancy falls further. As men's lives shorten, the window for forming families narrows, and birth rates fall further still. The war has accelerated this vicious cycle. Massive frontline casualties directly deplete the labor force, while mass emigration to avoid conscription deepens the demographic crisis. And the surge in military spending is crowding out investment in pro-natalist policy. The bitter irony: Russia chose war to strengthen its power, but that war is exhausting the very foundation of national power, its population. Sustaining great power status requires not just military force, but the population and labor force to underpin it. History repeats itself. When great powers decline, it is often not at the hands of external enemies, but through internal structural collapse. And now, the same pattern is appearing in the data. Let's bring today's analysis together. Here's what we've established. First, structural demographic vulnerability. Russia's total fertility rate hit 1.41 in 2023, approaching its lowest level in 25 years. Male life expectancies in the late 60s, with a roughly 10-year gap from women. Alcohol-related deaths, cardiovascular disease, and regional healthcare inequality are claiming working-age men fastest. This was already an advanced problem before the war began. Second, wartime acceleration. According to Western estimates, including the UK Ministry of Defense, Russian military casualties have surpassed 500,000, the majority men between 18 and 40. OECD analysis puts post-2022 emigration at hundreds of thousands to over 1 million, concentrated among IT specialists and researchers. Young men fleeing conscription are pulling future birth numbers further down. Third, economic consequences. Labor shortages have driven severe inflation, pushing the policy rate to 21% in 2024. The IMF points to long-term private sector growth stagnating around 1%, while defense consumes 32% of the 2025 budget. The UNWPP 2024 medium projection sees Russia's population falling sharply from its current 144 million toward 2050. Here's the question worth sitting with. What is the true foundation of national power? Nuclear weapons? Natural resources? Or population and labor? When a great power quietly exhausts itself, it doesn't begin on the battlefield. It begins in maternity wards and the data of statistics bureaus. How do you interpret this data? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching all the way through. Analyzing the world through the lens of geopolitics and economics with facts, not emotions. That is the mission of this channel. The data speaks, the numbers reveal the truth. Subscribe and turn on notifications to follow the next analysis together. Likes and comments are what keep this channel going. Until next time.